Hey guys, welcome back. You know, the Tokyo rig has come up in conversation a few times over the last month or so with some of my fishing buddies, both physical and virtual. And it kind of surprised me about how many people just aren't using it or haven't heard of it. And while I normally don't do these kinds of videos, I think if you're not using the Tokyo rig, especially when the bed fishing season comes up, you might be missing out. And I'll make my case and explain why right after this new intro I've been trying out. Well, what'd you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Before we get started, I just want to take a minute again to thank you for coming back to the channel. Please like this video, and if you enjoy this kind of fishing content, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Okay, so the Tokyo rig. This has come up a few times in conversation, like I said, and I really am surprised by how many people just aren't using it. And I've heard that, well, I wouldn't know how to get started with it, or I've been meaning to try it, but I haven't gotten around to trying it. But this is a really great power finesse rig. Is what I'll refer to it as, especially if you're fishing areas with a very sandy or silty bottom, and especially again in the bed fishing season. And I'll show you why. Here's a package of them, but I got a couple rigged up for the video. And this is basically all it is. It's an EWG style hook connected to a split ring, a swivel, and this little wire dangling down, kind of like if your Texas rig and your drop shot had a fish slaying baby. It'd be the Tokyo rig. Pretty easy to rig too. This wire comes bare and you can put any weights you want on it. Well, the bullet style weights, but really as much or as little as you want. Now, I generally like to use around 1/4 of an ounce, but I'll sometimes go as heavy as 3/8. Just depends on the situation. You have a couple of different options really. You can put 1 bullet style weight, 2, 3. You can put a bead in between them. Get a little clacking noise when you're bouncing this thing off the bottom. But it's a pretty simple and fairly versatile rig that can be used in place of your Texas rig, again, when the bottom of the water you're fishing is a little muddy or silty, or you got a bunch of decaying junk down there. And the main reason why, as you can see, the weight is going to be what's sitting in the silt, leaving your hook point exposed above the junk and giving those fish an easier target. Now, when it comes to what plastics to use, I prefer something with a lot of appendages. One of my favorite baits to throw on this is the Hogwalla by 6 Sense. But really, you can use a trick worm, you can use a shaky head worm, you can use any lizard style bait, especially when bed fishing season comes around. I like the appendages because when you're bouncing this thing across the bottom, these are going to flap. And again, your hook point is going to be a little higher up, giving those fish a much easier target, and they're not going to get a mouthful of silt when they go to bite your bait. Another great thing about this technique is you really don't need any specialized gear. Now, I prefer bait casters, but spinning combos will also get the job done. I've currently got one rigged up on a 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod and a fairly high speed reel. This is a 7-speed reel, 7.5-1. And I like the faster speeds because I'm usually not bombing this thing out there. I'm usually flipping it to an area where I think is going to hold some fish, or maybe a short little, sidearm lob cast. But basically, I toss it out there, bounce it a few times, wait 3-4 seconds, bounce it a couple more times, again, wait 3-4 seconds, and then I reel it right back in. And that's why I like the faster reel. I can get that bait back to me quicker for my next cast. Now, when it comes to the line, I prefer fluorocarbon. You can also use braid. I don't think I'd recommend mono in this situation because you don't want that stretch. It's the same reason you're going with a fast action rod. You don't want that parabolic bend that a moderate rod will give you, and you don't want the stretch that the mono would give you. So I would stick to your fluorocarbons or your braid. Currently, I've got this rigged up on a 15-pound line, and I'm throwing it at a 1/4 ounce. That's perfectly fine. If you're going to bump it up to say a 1/2 ounce or better, you might want to bump your line up to about 20 pound. On braid, I would go 30 pound, and again bump it up to maybe 40 if you're fishing around a lot of grass or a lot of structure. Well, guys, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's a pretty simplistic rig. There's really not a whole lot to go over. Well, I got one rigged up and there's some water behind me. Let's see if I can prove my point. Well, yeah, I guess it figures. I would film this on a day where I can't buy a fish. But, you know, that's fishing. That's how it goes sometimes, right? The best baits in the world, you can still go out and, well, get skunked. So, Tokyo rig, take my word on it. If you're not using it, use it, especially when you start seeing bass on beds. Bounce it up in their beds. They're not going to be able to resist. Thank you guys for tuning into another one, although, you know, no fish in this one, but like I said, that's fishing. I really do appreciate it, and even though I didn't catch any fish, because I tried real hard, do me a favor, hit that like button for me. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll see you all next week. All right, if you made it to this part of the video, good for you, because you're here for the secret giveaway. I'm not putting it in the title this time. Kind of had an idea about doing giveaways, you know, in between the big milestone giveaways, and I think I'm going to call it the Win What Works giveaway. And basically, the idea is if I'm out fishing and it's a great rig that's working real well for me, or it's a new bait that I'm trying out and it's working real good, what I'll do is I'll put the WWW in the title somewhere so that you guys know, and I'll end up giving that bait away, you know, to somebody in that video. So what I'm going to do for this video is give you a 2-pack of the VMC Tokyo rigs, you know, a full 8 count of 1/4 ounce bullet weights so you can rig it up, and then your choice, a 10-pack of the 6 Sense Hogwalla in either green pumpkin blue, my personal favorite, or else have a pack of black and blue, and the winner can just tell me which pack they want, which one will work better in their water. Real simple to win this. Obviously, be a subscriber, like this video, and somewhere in your comment use the hashtag WWW, Win What Works. And that's it. And next week I'll use one of them random picker jobs and pull out a winner and get these off to you. Thanks for sticking around.